70s were all about us, 1980 ushered in a decade of me. Across America, blacks as well as whites were flashing their status symbols and expensive taste.
There's been so many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around.
McFadden and Whitehead's Ain't No Stopping Us Now is really an anthem of upward mobility.
Black people are moving up into the middle class. Like, you know, there's no stopping us now. We're on the move. We're going to make this happen. We're going forward. We're not going backwards anymore.
Beneath the surface, a different story was unfolding. And in the inner city, life was tougher than ever.
The conditions under which many African Americans in cities were living were pretty desperate.
Automatic weapons and highly profitable drug trades and 40, 50, 60% unemployment produces a whole nother level of really troubled urban communities.
And so hip-hop really emerges at this moment of loss and disappointment, but also with a real sensibility that it's important to depict what's going on.
Hip-hop took Soul Train by surprise because we thought it was something that might not stick.
Don objected to rap's bleak outlook, but reluctantly invited chart-topping rappers onto the show.
Broken glass everywhere. People on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice.
You know, I can understand Don Cornelius and the Soul Train being a little skeptical or nervous about hip-hop because it was a very rash new thing.
Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
When the message came out, the Furious Five wanted to wake up America and just talk about the things that were going wrong that people sometimes don't want to hear.
Why didn't people like hip-hop at first? What was to like? The profanity, the perceived disrespect for elders. It was the rebel music.
Just the idea that someone just speaks over beat and they get to be on TV. It was something that a lot of the adults in black pop culture weren't interested in.
Don gave his audience what they wanted, though he still chafed at the racy East Coast dance moves.
Don Cornelius did not want to see how I really danced. I was doing hip-hop, and it was foreign to people out in California. Don was like, oh, no, you're a girl. And I'm like, what?
He also made uncharacteristically blunt comments about the music.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to old guys like me. I mean, I don't understand why they love it so much.
Never in my wildest imagination did I ever think that Don Cornelius would say what he said. My heart dropped to my feet. It devastated me.
But that ain't my job, is it? My job is to deal with it.
I remember being offended by, here's a guy whose job it is to like everything that's hot, and he couldn't relate to it. That was kind of the epitome of what the whole industry felt about hip-hop. Here's this emerging art form that no one can understand or like, but yet somehow it's selling.
But as the 80s progressed and rap became more and more popular, Don learned to live with.
That was frightening.
If not exactly love, the new art form.
How about it for Public Enemy?
At a certain point, hip-hop records and even the hardcore hip-hop records had just established themselves as so central to black pop music that Soul Train couldn't ignore that.
People look at you funny if you are not booking these kind of artists because it's like you don't know what you're doing.
I could tell that Don was a little uncomfortable embracing it, but as a businessman, I'm glad he was smart enough to give in.
Don's eventual acceptance of hip-hop helped launch the genre into the mainstream and gave acts like Run DMC, Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh, and Eric B. and Rakim national TV exposure for the first time.
The stage is empty. A beat like this might tempt me to pose, show my rings and my fat gold chain. Grab the mic like I'm on Soul Train.
When Soul Train gave the hip-hop community a look, as far as letting them come on and perform their songs, that broke hip-hop.
It took it out of New York and brought it into the homes of people across the country.
MTV, brand.
But Don would soon face some serious competition.
Yo, welcome to the premiere of Yo MTV Raps.
Yo MTV Raps was another new thing where I'm running around on the street. So it was a whole different format to the show.
When BET and MTV came around, Soul Train didn't have a monopoly on that audience anymore.
It is much more difficult when these upstarts come around and they're able to be newer and edgier and completely define themselves from zero instead of define themselves within their own history.
While the late 80s were all about upheaval for Soul Train, through it all, Don remained on top. The show now aired in more cities and reached more fans than ever before. But as he revealed in a 1993 news interview, the times were changing faster than he was.
People want to see people who are more like them, who relate better and more closely. I could do it, you know. I could be like, yo, what's up and all that, but I would look stupid.
In a manner befitting an icon, he decided to step down while he was still on top. After more than 2 decades of keeping Soul Train on track, Don Cornelius signed off for good on May 10, 1993.
And you can bet your last money it's all going to be a stone dance, honey. I'm Don Cornelius, and as always in parting, we wish you love, peace, and...
While it was the end of one era, it was also the beginning of another. Could Soul Train survive without Don Cornelius?